Hello, 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 and welcome to another week of the Couch Warriors podcast. Here we are. We're here to talk about. I don't know where to go from here, but we're still crying from a heartbreaking loss to the Plymouth Panthers on the weekend. We're recording on a Wednesday this week. I wanted to record on Monday, but John's been in bed sick, aka crying for the last 3 days because he's so disappointed about the loss. But here we are. I am one of your hosts, Richard the Bandwagon Conductor Laddie, and I can confirm the bandwagon's in full flight for 2026. And I'm joined as always by my good mate, my co-host, John Lazaron. John, how are you feeling after the game on the weekend, bro?
Oh, mate, took a while for me to get out of bed, just like you mentioned. But nah, I've kind of, I mean, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I remember mentioning this to you earlier. Like, it's been what 5, 6 days since the game, and it feels like it was such a long time ago. It feels like such a long time ago when it happened, but no, I had a lot of hope for the Warriors in this game that they would actually pull through. They'll pull something special. I mentioned it in the previous episode that we did, and for a moment there, it was looking promising. But I just think
Agree.
that, the bluntness of our attack, which is something we've discussed all season, just really, really didn't help us. And I thought the boys played their hearts out. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think there was, it was just a bad game of footy. I just don't think they had it in some of the right areas. But look, we can get into that a little bit later. But yeah, it's a disappointing end to the season. But to be honest with you, if you were going to ask me where the Warrior, if the Warrior, would you have taken a top 8 finish in 2025, considering 2024 wasn't the greatest of seasons for us, I would have said yes. And as we mentioned in previous episodes, where I picked them to end up, I ended up picking them sixth, which they ended up at sixth. But I
Yeah.
think at the same time, people will be happy about that and be proud about that. But also at the same time, because of where we were through the season, there might be some disappointment still, considering that we could be still playing this week. If things were just a little bit different, if things had gone
Yeah.
a little bit different, yeah,
I was clearing out my iPhone my phone photos the other day, and I came across a screenshot I'd taken for the podcast, and it was when we were in the top two, and I was looking at flights to Sydney for the grand final and all that, and I was sort of thinking, oh wow, yeah, we were actually in the top two, we were in the top four for so much this season. Like you think about what happened. I mean, and we will do a full preview. And we're not going to sort of review this a few full sort of review of the season next week probably. So we won't dwell too much into it. But yeah, you think about the losses that we had with Sean Johnson, Tohu Harris, Fanua Blake going to the Sharks, Dylan Walker leaving pretty early on. So
yeah,
we pretty much had our playmaker and our three most probably influential forwards um, sort of leave. So you think about where we were at the start of the season, and to make the eighth, to put up a good fight against Penrith, the four-time premiers. But no, just yeah, you're right though. The flat attack was what sort of we just couldn't get ourselves into the game. Obviously, there's a few refereeing decisions which we'll get to. It's just we have to go there. It seems like
yeah,
a broken record, but every week it seems to be happening at the moment. So I
yeah,
don't know whether there'll be some off-season changes there, but we might as well sort of just dive into the game, take a few, see what we can take away, what positives we can take away from it. So obviously, started off pretty well. Warriors started off not great with Tanner Boyd missing touch on the
yeah,
first minute after a penalty, which could have set the precedent for a pretty disappointing game for the Warriors. But they bounced back from that. They were hot on attack for that first 20 minutes in particular. They were up 2-0, coming into half time only down 6-2 thanks to Isaiah Papali'i, former Warrior. Try from him, which was just a beautiful Nathan Cleary ball when there was just a hole that sort of opened up from nowhere.
yeah.
But obviously before that we had a few late changes that we talked about it quite extensively last week, John. Whether there'd be some late changes to the team, and there was, with Leka Halasima going to centre, and Sam Healy coming on to interchange with Eddie Toiava dropping out of the 17. Did you think they were when we talked about it? I think I pretty much suggested that was probably what was going to happen. But
Yeah.
did you think that was the right call? You were happy with that?
Well, I guess just like you said, you called it, but I think many people would have called it as well. I think it was a bit. you just knew that when the team came out on Tuesday, that teamless Tuesday, that this wasn't going to be the team. You just knew something wasn't right. Like it was really weird because it was pretty much the starting 17 that that's been going on for a few weeks now, and but something just wasn't. You just knew that this was not going to be the team that's going to run out on the day, and you called it. We were all up in arms. Many people were up in arms actually about Sam Healy not being included in the 17, but he got put. Deservedly got put in there in the 17 in the end, and yes, I don't know about the Liquor to centre call. To be honest, I mean, I think Liquor's awesome, and we all love Liquor, but I just think that Catewell probably would. If you're going to put someone in there, probably put Catewell, someone that's actually done it, at Origin level. I think he's done it at Origin level. Just filled in. Yeah, filled in.
Sure he has. Yeah.
Yeah, and and keep Liquor on the second row. I know that Catewell's preferred position is in the second row. We all know that, but if you're going to make a choice between those two, I would have preferred to have Catewell in the centre. But not saying it would have made a difference. Liquor, he had a bit of a mixed game. He was awesome. Scored a try as well.
Capitulated at the end, though, eh?
Yeah, just some of those passes and stuff. But you can't blame him for that. He was just trying something because they were chasing the game. So as the Warriors tend to do, what they've been doing especially in the last 10 rounds and stuff. So you can't blame him for that, and definitely not going to blame him for that. But I just don't know if he would have been he definitely was not my first choice at centre to fill in. Which we'll talk about this more in the season preview next week. But it leaves a big gap there at centre because the fact that you have to call on 2 second rowers to fill that gap when someone else is injured just shows that there's not a lot of depth in centre, or Andrew Epps is just too scared to pick someone from New South Wales Cup who's actually to make that step up. So it's an interesting one, but definitely wouldn't have had Lecker as my centre, to be honest. I would have had Catewell in there.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely see where you're coming from. I think I just more. He offers more on attack, and we saw that in the weekend.
Yep.
I don't think Kate Ball would have scored that try like Lecker did. I actually watched the replay of it, and there was still a lot of work there he had to do. He really had to put his head down and back himself, and he did. And he had about 5. I think he had 5 or 6 tackle breaks in the game. I think they're the most for the Warriors players. So in a team where we were really lacking offensively, lacking on attack, he was. A sort of a shining light for a lot of that game. But yeah, I mean,
he was. Yeah.
It was an interesting decision, but it was one that I liked, and it was good to see Webby thinking outside the box. I think that's what it was. It was his way of thinking outside the box, and it might not have been, what a lot of other people, people calling for, Tamari Martin to come in late change at 7, or even Sam Healy to start or something like that. That may have been his thinking outside the box, and it wasn't a bad. He scored a try. He was probably looked one of the most dangerous of our backs, if not the most dangerous of our backs. And then in that last 15 minutes, obviously he was one that dropped that ball for To'o, and I think he had a pass that went out as well, so it wasn't meant to be. But the Sam Healy one ended up being quite interesting because he only came on when Egan came off for a head knock, and then when Egan was all good, Egan came back on, and so I think he only ended up playing 15 minutes or something like that. And
a bit of a waste.
I don't know. It was a bit of a waste of a spot, especially when you've got Tamari Martin on the bench already. So it's always going to be risky when you're playing, a utility, and Tamari Martin ended up sort of covering the middle, which was quite crazy, but I think he put in a pretty good effort. I think I was having a look through his stats, and he more than held his own. He's a brave player, so it was something that maybe we could have had a bit more in the season. But I feel like Healy could have been injected early into the game.
Yep.
I think maybe we were down by at least 8, maybe even whatever it was at the end there. When it was 24-8, it could have even been then when Healy came on, I feel like. So the game was sort of just a bit out of our hands, and we probably just needed him to come on a bit earlier. So I thought that was, if you're going to bring him in, it seems a bit bizarre to sort of not, you could have brought him on like for 55th minute against some tired defence.
Or just rotate them, rotate them throughout the game, right? But you're right. It took a bit of a knock to Egan to do that, and I just thought it was a waste of a spot because I think he would have been put in there because of his ability to change a game. His speed on at the ruck, and just being able to play the ball quickly and stuff. And he's got a strong, and he's pretty fast as well. So I thought they would have used that more, especially in a dual tie game, but he didn't. And nothing against Wade Egan. We all love Wade Egan. I mean, start of the year we were like pushing, we were like celebrating, or not celebrating so much, but we were like pushing for him to be the New South Wales State of Origin hooker. But towards the end of the season, I just think he was just a bit gassed, and it's just an ongoing occurrence, just like with Rocco Berry, just keeps getting head knocks. Rocco Berry keeps getting injuries. Wade Egan gets head knocks, and it's unfortunate. And how long do you keep going? But we can talk about that in the season review. We can save that for the season review. But I'm just bringing that up in the sense of Sam Healy I thought his spot was a bit wasted on the night. He could have been used a lot more, and he's already proven himself. Whenever he gets on the field, he does something. Something happens. So why didn't you use him more when we needed it? When we needed him to? Yeah.
And we also had the return of Jackson Ford. Comes in the middle. 40 tackles in the first half, 61 in the whole game. He did give away a few penalties in the sixth again, I think, as we expect. But I mean, you can't question the heart of that man, eh? And he was everywhere. Like he did. I think one of the penalties he gave away was that offside, and it was pretty clear. And even who was the referee? Not Klein. Atkins. Even Atkins was, you quite clearly heard him say, "Jackson, you're offside," and he was off by a couple of meters. And it's like, but it was just awesome to see him back. So like did you with sort of the absence of Mitch Barnett and him sort of towards the end of the season, it was cool to see him sort of really come and in that game, and like he looked like he was happy to be there. You're happy with what you saw from Jackson Ford coming into 2026?
I love Jackson Ford, as I said, and despite the fact that you've tried to encourage the fans to encourage the people who are watching us to make you think that I do not like him. That's not the case. It's not the case at all. I just if there's one flaw in his game, it's ill discipline, and you just mentioned it yourself. He gave away a few 6 against the penalty. That is ill discipline. I think he's trying to do what Melbourne and Penrith do really well. They're holding down for too long and things like that, and blah 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 sort of things. They get away with it. You're playing for the Warriors. You're not going to get away with it. As much as it hurts me and irks me to say it, you're not going to get away with it if you're playing for the Warriors. If you play for the Storm, yes, you're going to get away with it. Penrith, yes, you're going to get away with it. Yeah, but Broncos, you're going to get away with 4 passes, everything with the Broncos. But with Warriors, you're not going to get away with it. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get away with it at the Warriors. So he needs to just realize that. Realize that. So I know what he's trying to do, and I think all league players try to do it, but I think the reality is that you just can't get away with the Warriors. But I did think he got a bit stumped by the one call where with the Penrith player went to play the ball really quickly, and he was behind the ball and he couldn't get up.
Oh, yeah.
And then the referee penalised him, but he just couldn't do anything. He was just right there, and like they were saying he was interfering with the play, and it's just like all through the season you see those sort of things happen all the time, and they say play on.
Yeah,
they just say play on because he had no time to get out. He had no time to get out of the way because the player got up really quickly and played the ball. So I just was also sitting there going, what the heck? You say play on throughout the whole season for most games, and in the one game you want to call that, you do it right now in an elimination final, which is a bunch of poo for me.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah. It's probably a pretty good segment into what I want to talk about next, and some of the refereeing decisions. We'll start with what do you start with? We'll start with the try, the Brad Schneider try. I know there was a lot of talk comparing it to Wade Egan's non-try. I think it was into Knights about 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Yep.
And their epic game that Halasima won. What did you take on it? Did you think it was a try?
No, and I'm not saying that as a biased fan, and as you know, and everyone that's listened throughout the whole season, I try to call it as it is. But the thing is, the truth is that when it actually happened live, I thought it was a double movement live. I didn't need the replay to show me that it was double movement. It looked dodgy. It didn't look like it was the momentum pulled him over. It looked like he stopped and then he tried to elevate himself again. And if you look at the replays, he does that with his arms both on the ground. He had to actually push himself up to get over. And the funny thing about this is that not only have I seen, and Warriors fans are whinging about it as well, I'm not going to call it whinging, but we're complaining about it. But I've seen actually Australian former players actually had their say on it. Like a former Penrith Panthers star, Luke Lewis. I think it's Luke Lewis. He came out saying
Panthers,
that.
yep.
Yeah. He came out saying it was a blatant double movement. He said it. He said it on social media, and it's all over social media. You can see in there. Luke Lewis said that. The old Cronulla centre and also Wallabies player Matt Rogers said the same thing. He also talked about some other dodgy calls that went against the Warriors. But what I'm saying is that there are other people that are not Warriors fans who used to play for Penrith that saw it as it is, saw it as a double movement, and I thought it was as well. Did you think it was a double movement?
Nah, I think I was alright with that. Like I don't think he prepared himself. Like originally,
how?
I was a bit like, oh man, I was frustrated, and then I think they showed the replays. I got more and more frustrated. But like seeing it live, I was comfortable with it. Like maybe if it had gone up, it would have been interesting if it had gone up no try, and then whether they would have had sufficient evidence. But the fact that live, Atkins has seen it and thought it was try. I'm comfortable with, and then I think if it had been called a non-try and it was Warriors, I would have been disappointed. So I've got to look at it in that perspective. And there was a lot. Everyone was complaining about Wade Egan the other week. I think you were one of them. And I think Wade Egan's is probably a bit more of a clear, double movement than what that try was.
Oh.
But it begs the question. If it was Wade Egan scoring that.
Yeah, I'm just sorry. Hold on. I'm just writing a note down. Make an appointment for Richard at Specsavers. All right, all good. Okay.
I think we can probably agree on the next one. We'll start with the Blaze Tulagi knock on from the kickoff. I don't know what game they're watching. You see that 9.5 times out of 10. That's a knock on.
Yeah.
Tana Boyd kicks it deep into the end goal from the kickoff. Blaze Tulagi blatantly knocks it on. Dylan Edwards is in front of him and comes back and gets the ball. So could have been offside. There's probably actually I think there's a rule that you can't be offside in the end goal. But I don't know what game they're watching there and how they can just see that. You can have a referee in a touchy see that and say that's play on. That's fine.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. And let me ask you this: if that was the Warriors, a Warriors player taking that kickoff, and it was him, a Warriors player that knocked the ball on, would it have been called knock on?
I'm not gonna speculate, John.
No. I want you to speculate. Mate. It's the end of the season.
100%. If that's Dallin, that's been called a knock on. If that's Chanel Harris-Tavita, that's been called a knock on. And it was a knock on. It should be called a knock on, and it wasn't. And it's just frustrating that this stuff is happening every week. What have we got? What have we got a bunker for and all that? Like there's some stuff you can understand, but that the game's stopped. There's a kick-off. It's very clearly that he's lost that. He's fumbled it. That's the rules in the NRL and rugby league. And it's just frustrating.
And you know what the annoying thing about this is that Warriors fans took to social media as they do to voice their disappointment, across social media, and you got Panthers fans especially and other fans saying, "Oh, stop whining, Warriors whinges, they all do this." But I bet you if it was their team, they would be saying the same thing. So it's like they're having a go at us because we get we're not getting the rub of the green. But the thing is, we're not getting the rub of the green. We haven't for a long time. There was a period when what's his name, Jason Paris, the CEO of One New Zealand Warriors. When he actually came out and said something. That's when something changed there in the officiating. It was funny to notice that, but it's gone back to the way it used to be. And we're not getting that because that happened in any other game, it would have been called a knock on. So I don't understand how you call that. You don't call it, even if there's a little bit of. Even if there's a little hint that it might have gone slightly back or just a flat line, you can't just call that from where he is. So why you say playing on? I know he's got his touchies, but touchies to me are useless. What do they do except for raise their flags in a conversion or a penalty? Other than that, they are useless. They miss so many. They miss so many forward passes throughout the year. Yeah, well, what's the point of putting a touchy on a Broncos game? You know, this sort of thing.
Hey,
So
they
well,
called one on
yeah,
they called a late one in the Broncos Raiders game the other day. Though I don't know if you saw that. I
nah.
was quite surprised. I think it was Shibasaki to
Oh yes, yes, he did. No,
Kiripani
so
or Mariner
yep,
maybe. I can't remember who
yep,
was on that wing, but
yeah,
yeah,
I
I was
saw that
quite
one.
surprised to see that, and it
Yep,
sort of gave me flashbacks of the 2003 semi-final against the Broncos, where Reece Walsh throws the the NFL pass, and
yep,
somehow that doesn't get picked up. So just
yep.
I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, and like we'll whinge about it all we can, but at moments like that, and it happened again on the weekend with his 4 passes. And Nathan Cleary puts up a big old bomb. We had a great set. They were kicking it on the last, or maybe it was the fourth, from inside their 20. Nathan Cleary somehow kicks it to a spot where only he can, and the ball can only bounce that way when he kicks it. I don't know what he'd done to that ball, but it was a terrible bounce.
yeah.
We've got Dallin and Chance kind of just like jogging back. No one seems too worried about it. And then I can't actually remember who did the pass. Do you remember? Was it Schneider?
No,
Was it
it was
Tulagi?
no.
Was it was Tulagi?
I thought it was
Oh,
Casey.
Lindsay Smith. Lindsay Smith, I think.
Lindsay Smith. Isn't okay? For some reason I keep thinking he was a Roosters player, but no, it wasn't. I can't remember who it was, but
It's Lindsay Collins.
yeah, Lindsay Collins. Yes, names mixed up. No, it was the Kiwi centre. What's his name?
Casey McLean. He scored
Yeah.
the
Oh, sorry, he scored the try. Okay,
Yeah.
no, so I'm just trying to remember all this. But before we go
clear
into
forward pass. A clear forward pass.
clear forward pass, but before we go into that quickly, when you're right, like he kicked into a spot. I don't think he meant to either. It just happened that way. My thoughts when it happened live was, where's Chance? I don't know if he was running back or because they were playing a set, so he would have what tends to happen.
He was
way
20 minutes
back
behind the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, he was too far back. I know that. So in rugby league, a fullback, just from when you play, I never played professionally or anything like that, but when I played club league and stuff, when you're doing a set, you sort of hang back around, you good 20 meters or stuff behind the ball, and then you go deeper in the last tackles and stuff. But he looked like he was so far deep, like he was nowhere near. I don't even know if you could see him in the screenshot, on the screen in the frame when they were recording this, and you saw Dallin come running in, and it's just like I couldn't believe it. And
I don't know if you'd say running. It was more like
a jog,
a fast walk.
A fast walk, yes.
He was so casual about it as well. It was sort of like, what are you doing, guys?
Yeah, I think he got caught in two minds. Don't you think? Like he was like, oh, do I go running for this or do I just let it go? So I think he got caught in two minds, sort of thing. And but the thing is, because it was just an odd kick, in an odd area, not something that you normally see Nathan Cleary do on purpose. Like he didn't do it on purpose. That's the thing. I think it was just an off kick, and it just worked out for them. But despite the fact that we had the howlers, defensive howlers on our part from Dallin and Chance, it still doesn't change the fact that there was a blatant forward pass.
A clear forward pass.
It doesn't change the fact that there was a blatant forward pass, and I just can't believe they didn't call it. And where was the touchy? How did they not call? I mean, happening live.
Touchy was there. The touchy, I watched the replay again. They weren't far off. They should have been able to see it. You've listened to. I don't think the New Zealand commentary said it, but I listened to the Australian commentary. I think it was 9. I listened to a couple of podcasts this week, and they had clips from some of the radios. Though, so I think they had like Triple J and SEN as well, and both the commentary says and the Aussie TV commentary, they all said full pass straight away, no hesitation. He's got a full pass. And listen to a few podcasts this week. All the Aussies are saying, I mean that's just a shocker. They're like, we feel for the Warriors. They complain a lot, but they've got reason to complain for this one.
There's a reason to. And it's like the same thing with Casey McLean's knock on and then goal. A lot of the commentators, from radio and TV were saying the same thing. Like the TV commentators from, I can't remember if it was Fox or 9, were saying, "Oh, that's a knock on," and they couldn't believe that. It's play on. They were stunned that it was play on. So I just couldn't believe it. And again, if anyone's listening that's not a Warriors fan, and you're thinking we're just wearing a whinge, we're not just having a whinge. These are blatant calls that have not gone our way, and it's frustrating. Imagine being in our shoes when this sort of things happen to your team. You'll be doing the same thing. So it's just, yeah, I'm not saying at all that these blatant howlers from the referee or the bunker or whatever it changed the momentum of the game. I still don't think we would have got there. I'm not trying to say that they would have changed the game. I'm just saying that it just ruined the game, because I still think that our blunt attack wasn't doing enough to get over the line, but we were still in the game especially when the forward pass happened. I think the score was 12 points to 8, so there was still a glimpse of hope there, of hope, and they got taken away with that because I think it was just like, oh, too much out of the tank now. I think they were they had no more in the tank. The Warriors after that. So
indeed, yeah.
Basically, yeah. So it's just, I don't know. It's a disappointing end, to a pretty good season. I know that we've been pretty critical at times of the Warriors over the last 10 weeks because they haven't been playing that well. We have to be honest. They hadn't been playing that well, losing games that they should have won and winning games that they should win, but only winning by, like, against the Knights. It took a piece of liquor brilliance, a miracle from liquor, to win us that game, and literally in the last seconds of that game, when we shouldn't be in that position in the first place against a side like the Knights. And there's no disrespect to the Knights, but they have been really poor, and I'm pretty sure any Knights fan will admit it as well. So so it was a disappointing end to a pretty decent season for us. I mean, we made the top 8, got the top 6, and I just think that to be honest, there's a lot of good things to happen. And I mean, again, we'll bring this up in the season preview, but I really, really believe we're going to see a different side in 2026. Like, there's going to be a selection overhaul. I think Webster's going to come back and go, okay, right, I can't stick with it.
Give me your one hot take for next year's teams. Is there someone who's can drop from the team? Is there someone who's going to get a spot? I just want one hot take for now. A little preview for next week. I'll start us off. Give you some time to think about it.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Chance going in the centre and Tuapiki. It's hardly a hot take because it's something we talk about every week. But I think that's going to be, from round one, that's going to be where the direction we go.
And this is why I needed a moment to think about it, because that for me is like a blatant obvious one. But for me, I guess the big one that probably, I think either Harris Tavita or Nyakure will be taken out and someone else will replace them. You've got, for example, Morgan Gannon coming in from Leeds Rhinos. I know it's Super League and it's a different competition, but he seems to be a bit of a beast. He's fast and he's young. He's got good skills and stuff. So I think that maybe Morgan Gannon will be someone that will be inserted really quickly. And if you're not going to replace Lecker, I don't think you're not going to replace Capewell. So I think Nyakure will be the one that will drop down to the bench or something. If not, I'm not saying Nyakure is going to go to reserve grade. I'm saying that he won't be. It won't be like he's going to be a starting player, unless it's in the front row. I think that Nyakure or Harris Tavita will be. I actually think the whole spine is going to look a lot different. Yeah, you heard it here. So the whole spine's going to look different. Like fullback, halfback, 5'8", and hooker even maybe. I think it's going to look very different.
Oh, I can't wait.
Except for Metcalf. Metcalf is a shoo-in if he's not. If he's
got 6 months to wait.
Yeah.
11, 12, maybe 5 months to wait.
Well, I mean, it's a good time. It's a good time for my wife because she said to me, now that the NRL Warrior season's over, I'll get my husband back. She said, so yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing too much more to add about that game on the weekend. I had a few stats on to rattle off just real quickly. We only completed at 72%. We had 40 less runs, 400 less run meters. We had 5 forced dropouts on us. We only grubbered the ball once. They grubbered the ball 7 times. We have 45 missed tackles, 16 errors, and 4 6 agains. So just stats like that when you're playing against Penrith, who they're probably not at their best, but they're still 4-time premiers. They've still got Nathan Cleary there. You just need to be playing better than that. You need to be completing at a higher rate. And unfortunately, the conditions we just couldn't I mean, I think we played really well for 60, 65 minutes of the game. And to think,
Yeah.
with 15 minutes to go, we were only down by 4 points. It was 12-8. And all it took here was that kick from Cleary and that forward pass from Lindsay Smith or whoever it was. Maybe it wasn't Lindsay Smith, but
Yeah.
did you have a man of the match? And we're obviously not doing our Wally Ems. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck took out our Wally Ems for the season. We're not doing Wally Ems, but did you have one player that sort of stood out for you? You wanted to shout out as your man of the match?
For us, I'd say Liquor. I thought, I know I mentioned before that he had a bit of a mixed game just because he was trying a few things and the passes didn't go. But that's what happens sometimes when you're chasing a game. Things that just don't go to plan, and it's not his fault that we were chasing the game. Yep. But other than that, Liquor, and he deserves all the accolades that have been given to him throughout this whole season, and right now with the awards, he won Rookie of the Year at the Warriors Awards. We probably should read out the award winners, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should. I'll shout out Aaron Clark as my man of the match for the game.
Yep.
I had some stats written down. He only played 39 minutes, which is pretty insane because Tamara Martin did his thing, but he still had 14 runs, 117 metres, 24 tackles, 0 misses, and
stellar season, right?
Shout out to him for a stellar season, and surprised to not see him in the awards, to be honest. But did you have the awards in front of you?
Yeah, I do. I'm just trying to pull it up right now because we posted them on social media. So let me just find them. But for some reason,
Leka won the People's Choice.
Yep.
And the Rookie of the Year. So, a pretty amazing achievement for a 19-year-old to be winning People's Choice. Is obviously our Rookie of the Year. He's a favourite to win he'd be in the top 3 to win the Rookie of the Year at the Deli M. So I'll be watching that closely. But just incredible season from him. I remember his debut against the Bulldogs last season, and he nearly scored a try. He came off the bench, just looked so good. At that point, if you told me that he'd play, I think he played every game this season. If you told me that he was going to play every game this season, at that point, I'd be quite surprised. But I mean, he's now down that spot, and you can't take that away from him, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I've got them up here now. So, NRL Rookie of the Year, Leka Halasima. NRL Players Player, Tuivasa-Sheck, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. NRL People's Choice Award, like you said before, Leka Halasima, and NRL Clubman of the Year, Demi Valmanga. So those were the main winners there. So like you said, a lot of people were just a bit disappointed that Aaron Clark didn't get it, but I think it was a bit of a race, a 2-horse race between TS and Clark. And like for our Wally Ems, for example, we got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck there in the end. I think it was just because he had a really good run in the last 8 weeks that really propelled him in the points.
Yeah, massively. Yeah.
I
think I like just on Dimitri Valmanga. I think that I was surprised to see that, but I love that so much. I think he's been another one with Leka, so good this season, come so far, and the fact that these guys are all signed on for the next sort of 4 or 5 seasons is just so exciting for the club.
Yeah, true. I'll quickly read out the NRLW, the Wahine Waz award winners as well.
Oh, you missed out Roger getting the Simon Mannering medal.
Oh, sorry. The main one, yes, Simon Mannering, yes, of course. He's won too many awards, just keep forgetting.
4 times.
So yeah, exactly. So NRLW Rookie of the Year, Ivana Lautiti. NRLW Club Woman of the Year. I hope I'm pronouncing these names properly. Taisha Akinisio. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. If I haven't pronounced it right, my apologies. Ikanasio. That's probably the way to say it, yep. NRL Players Player, Kaya Atai. And NRL People's Choice Award, Peyton Takimoana. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Takimoana. Yeah, so those are the Wahine Waz Awards. There were some also.
Did you shout out Epi Nichols as well for the Player of the Year?
Player of the Year. She got the sort of, well, it's not called the Simon Mannering medal, but it's the equivalent. Yeah, Epi Nichols. Yep. Also, might as well just read out quickly the New South Wales Cup Players of the Year. We all knew this happened because this was named while Kalani Going got it, and Kalani Going he got that for the overall New South Wales Rugby League Player of the Year, which is awesome. For good shout out to him. New South Wales Cup Players Player was Tana Boyd, and New South Wales Cup Team Man of the Year Geronimo Doyle. So So Geronimo Doyle. So
Geronimo.
yeah, Geronimo. Um, yeah, he got the New South Wales Cup team man of the year, and yeah, so good shout out to all those guys. You know, did really good year. The New South Wales Cup boys are still going. They've got to get.
Damn.
They lost their major semi final to the Dragons, who have been their pretty much rivals throughout the season. But they go into I'm not sure what you're calling it, if it's a semi final or not, or preliminary final. But they're playing against the Eels, and because the Dragons have gone straight to the grand final. So we beat the Eels this weekend. We go straight to the grand final. We play a rematch them, which we will come back and win the game. So awesome. Yeah.
Got a few big names back for that game as well. Hey,
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Tuapiki.
Tuapiki.
I think I've got it here. I've got the name here. I've got the list here. So fullback Tuapiki, wing Situ, centre Morgan Harper, the other centre Moala Graham Tolfa, Kossi, another wing Luke Hanson, Jet Cleary, good halves pairing there. Bunty Afoa in his last game for the Warriors for the club, and it'll be the same for Morgan Harper and Graham Tolfa because they're both leaving as well. Sam Healy is at hooker. Tanastola Smith is at prop. Kayla's Fatilofa at lock. In the second row, and so was Eddie Irma Toyava. He's in the second row, and Kalani going at center. At lock. And the bench is Tom Ale, who is also going. He's also leaving the club. I'm not sure who this player is, to be honest. It's really bad on my part. Jason Salalilo. I'm not sure who it is. Toby Crosby and Mr. Doyle. Yes, Mr. Doyle there, playing. That's the 17 for the game on Saturday. Yeah, good team.
Great team. I'll be trying to tune into that one. Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about it before. Like, I want to. Watching the Warriors, the first grade team is so taxing on your emotions that I haven't really been able to really throw myself into the New South Wales Cup and the NRLW this year. But I see the NRLW, they had a big announcement today that they've got four new signings coming, 3 from the Sevens team and one a well-established NRLW player. So it'd be really cool to see that and see. It looks like that team will be they'll be going deep, I think, into the comp next year. They had a really good debut season, and they've obviously got the team, and so the club just looks like it's in a great position. So hopefully all these teams can build on a very successful year. Obviously, you had the was it the Harold Mets that won? No,
Jersey Fleet.
Jersey Fleet, yeah. No, Harold Mets won, or the Jersey Fleet won. One of those teams won.
Yeah, they won it. Harold Mets won it. Yeah. They're back-to-back winners. Yeah. But speaking of the Wahine Wars, we'll get to know more about their first year back in the competition shortly because we know we've got Kaylin Takatimo Cook coming on for an interview, so we'll be talking to her over the next couple of days, and we'll get that interview out shortly. I knew her when she was at the Hurricanes Power when I was working at running the media at the Hurricanes there, so I knew her there. So sent her a message. She's keen to jump on, so we'll find out more about the season shortly in due time.
How good! I can't wait. Not sure if I'm going to be able to be free for the record, but I'll definitely be listening, and I'll be sending a few questions through for you, John. Get to the bottom of it.
Are we going to quickly? I know we wanted to make this episode a short one because it's not the full season review, but I think we should just spend a couple of minutes on those other games, those moments.
Oh man!
On those other games. Yeah, just quickly do it.
So much happened over the weekend. Obviously, heartbreaking to see the Warriors go down, but there's still plenty of NRL to be played. Well, not plenty, but we've got 5 more games for the season. We started on Thursday night with the Bulldogs going down to the Storm in Melbourne. Bulldogs have lost Stephen Crichton. They've lost half their back line. The Burden's playing back at centre, and they play the Panthers this week. Did you get the chance to watch that game, John?
I did. I did watch some of it.
It was brutal, It was a brutal game.
It was very brutal
painful
game.
To watch with the amount of injuries that were happening. Kickout went off early. They thought he'd fractured an eye socket or something. Apparently he's just said he doesn't want to get it checked out. They want to do the club wants to do a scan. He's just refusing because he just wants to play. So we'll see how that.
Yeah, because it looks like a facial fracture or something like that. So
he might just
Fair enough. I can understand why. But he's won a premiership before with Penrith, so.
Yeah, one or two, maybe one. Are you putting the line for the Bulldogs, or do you reckon they might be able to pull off a miracle against the Panthers this weekend?
I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised the Bulldogs did as well as they did against the Storm. I thought the Storm would actually run home with it.
Yeah.
But they
We've got
didn't.
some heart. We've got some ticker.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because it's the Storm didn't just play well. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was that's the reason why, or is it just because the Bulldogs just pulled up a good performance. But the way the Riff played against us, I don't know if they've got it in them this year. But I mean, you never rule them out because they could just out of the bag just pull out a good performance, and they've got the experience and the players to do it. So you can never rule them out. They were so down the bottom of their table at one point, and they just moved themselves back up because they had the I say old All Blacks mentality where you never drop and die. You just keep going, and well, it hasn't been like that for the All Blacks of late. But it hasn't been like that for the All Blacks of late. But that's how the old All Blacks mentality used to be, and I think that Penrith have got that mentality. So I wouldn't never rule them out, despite the fact that I didn't think they were that great against the Warriors. But I'll still put my money on the Panthers to win.
Yeah, I mean, you watch that game, and the most frustrating thing for me watching that game is, like Melbourne and their ability just to, Jerome Hughes goes down, who's, the reigning Dally M.
Yeah.
Kiwis halfback, and then Jonah Pezic comes in, and he's probably not even their best backup half, and he has an absolute blinder, kicks a 40-20, he's controlling the game so well. And you're just thinking with the with the way the Warriors' attack's been, even when Metcalf was there, like he was playing well, but I'm still not convinced he's a 7. So what the Warriors could do to maybe get Jonah Pezzett or even we've talked about Tyrone Wishart in the past. It'd be cool to see, but yeah, I think I'm putting a line through the Bulldogs. I think the Penrith will come through.
Yep.
The other knockout was obviously your beloved Sharkies getting up over the Roosters. You're happy about that result?
Oh, surprised. I think the Sharkies are one of the biggest poo teams around, and I'm very surprised. But
they found some form, bro. They found some form
at the right time as well. So I thought the Roosters would overcome the Sharkies pretty easily, but no, they're progressing through, and I didn't see it happening. Didn't see it coming. Sorry, is what I was meant to say.
I think a lot of people were sleeping on the Sharks in that game. There's a lot of people were like, the Roosters are the bet of the weekend and all that. But now the Sharks brought it to them, and hey, if they can keep playing well, they've obviously got a tough challenge this weekend against the Raiders, who will be heartbroken after their game on Sunday. Some people were calling it the greatest finals game of the century.
It was
just
good.
Insane. Just had everything. It's just such a good advertisement for rugby league about why it is the greatest game of all. Because that game had everything. Raiders were up 28-12 with 15 minutes to go. You had a couple of cards, 3 cards. You obviously had probably one of the most horrendous refereeing decisions I've seen, and that's coming from a Warriors fan. How Ashley Klein gave the Broncos the penalty and sent Hudson Young off as well. Like Hudson Young's just doing what NRL players do.
Yeah.
The Broncos are one of the worst teams for doing it. They get in people's faces when they celebrate. Everyone does it. You got players like Ronaldo Militalo who just he thrives off it. It's all part of the game. How they decide to send Hudson Young off for taunting, and then give the Broncos the penalty after Reece Walsh.
Yeah.
And there wasn't too much malice in it, but it was still a headbutt. Like he still led with his head and hit Hudson Young.
You know what, bro? Is that with that what happened? Like you just said, there wasn't much malice in it, or this is what you see, every game. But that if Hudson Young, if Reece Walsh didn't react the way he did, and he just walked away, it would have probably been just play on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would have just been play on. It wouldn't have been. The referee would have seen nothing about it. But because Reece Walsh reacted the way he did, and headbutted him, it's a small headbutt, but then dragged him through him to the ground. Then everyone else came in for came in for a little bit of a push and shove. Because that happened, and then it grabs the referee's attention, and that's when they look at it, and then
he didn't handle it well. Did not handle it well, eh?
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I understand players doing that, but you got to give a little bit of blame to Hudson Young. He's stuffed this team up in a way, and I agree that players do it all the time. I'm agreeing with you, and people taunt, like you just said, they do it all the time, but he did it at the wrong time. It was the wrong time to do it because now they've got an extra. They haven't got a week off.
Well, I mean, Reece Welsh should have been probably sent off for it. For the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a heap of malice in it, but you just you can't do that. It's a dangerous precedent to set. Like what's going to happen if this weekend, we've got Canberra up against the Sharks and Joey Tarpanay leads with his head and smashes Nico Hines. Is it just going to be, we'll send him off 10 in the bin, $3,000 fine, and everyone's still friends? Like it's a dangerous precedent, and if there is any other incidents for the rest of the finals, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Imagine if it's like Nelson Asafa-Solomona.
Yeah.
And he does that to Reece Walsh, or he does that to Nico Hines, or he does it to Nathan Cleary. Like you imagine that. He's getting 10 weeks,
Yeah, and I hear you, bro. And the thing is that the NRL are really dodgy when it comes to this sort of stuff. Do you remember like a couple of seasons back when there was the grand final? And I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of the May boys. They got suspended for something, but they were allowed to go through their suspension the following season so they could play in the grand final. They were allowed to. Do you remember that or not? Do you remember that?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure. Like, I'll look it up because I'm pretty sure that this is not like a little bit of a setup or anything. It was just like they were in the grand final. The Penrith were in the grand final. They were looking. They were across the judiciary, and basically they were saying, look, you can do your sentence next year. And that for me is just like, what's the point of punishment? And that sort of thing. I'll look it up again because I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But anyway, don't need to go on to about it too much more because but I thought that the Reece Walsh was an interesting one. The fans were giving it to him as he walked off, and he gave him the bird. He flipped him the bird. I mean, if you're Reece Walsh, fair enough. Flipped him the bird because of what they're probably yelling some. I don't know what they were yelling at him, but. Yeah, I saw the actions of the Canberra Raiders stars.
He would have been getting that. That's for sure. I mean, but kudos to the Broncos for coming back from that. There's not that many teams in the comp that can do it. They pulled a Penrith on them. So I'd love to see a Raiders Broncos final. That's who I'm picking from here, John. You got any hot takes for the final?
No, I just don't want Broncos there. I just don't want the Broncos there. I've got a lot of mates, that actually support the Broncos, and they've already given it to me already. I just don't want to see them gloat. So I just don't want to see the Broncos there.
I want the Raiders Broncos final. I want the Raiders, obviously, my beloved Raiders. I want them to.
But they deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve it. So it'd be good. And just don't want the Broncos to be there.
Fair call, mate. Fair call. Yeah. Anyway, we've probably talked for long enough today. It was supposed to be a short episode, but we still managed to cover some ground, and nice to actually just unload on a few things and have a bit of a moan about some of the refereeing decisions over the weekend. So thanks everyone for listening as usual. Up the mighty Raiders this weekend, we'll say. We will be doing a preview, a full review for the season, hopefully next week. And yes, John's got a special episode coming to you, a little feature on the NRLW, which is going to be awesome. Before we call it in, John, anything you want to add, mate?
Nah, I mean, we'll say our goodbyes after the full review. We'll still strive to bring content out as we've been doing all season. Thanks for the support, especially over the last few weeks. The support has been quite immense, hasn't it? The amount of followers and subscribers, etc. So we still need more. Obviously, we still need more, especially on YouTube. But it's just thanks everyone for tuning in and for all the comments that we get and stuff. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For maybe the second or third to last time of the season, up the wires, up the doors. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you when we see you.
Up the wires.
We've got the faith, up the milk.
We are